Hi everyone and welcome. In this video I'm going to share a few tweaks that I've made to the FT or Flight Test Simple Storch in order to make it the #1 fun RC airplane in my hangar. Before we start, I think it is important to give a bit of background that will justify the tweaks or mods that I've made to my third FT Simple Storch. Firstly, due to affordability in my country, I'm using straight fluted Corex board as building material instead of foam board. This makes the airplane a bit heavier but tough like a honey badger. Secondly, although it's not really necessary, I use a stronger powertrain not only to compensate for the extra weight, but also to have more power on hand when needed, like when I mount a camera onto the airplane or when I put the airplane on floats. In this case, I'm using a 10x5 prop on a 35-36 1200 kV outrunner brushless motor with a 50 amp ESC and a 1800 mAh 4-cell LiPo battery. This powertrain gets the airplane up like a rocket and enough power is available when needed. Thirdly, my airplane is a complete scratch build, where the plans get traced onto the building material as a starting point. This gives me the opportunity to tweak the plan according to my need. To fully understand the tweaks or mods, I recommend that you download the free plans for the FT Simple Storch from the Flight Test website and watch the full build video. To give a bit of background, this airplane is my third build, and with my two previous builds I've experienced that the airplane tends to nose up during normal flight, and even more when you hit the throttle. Even with the battery moved right to the front of the power pod and the elevator trimmed down, it only solves the problem in normal flight, but not when you hit the throttle. The nose still pitches up. This brings me to the first tweak. If you look at the nose or front section on the plan, you will notice that the section was designed to join the 90-degree tail section with a 93-degree angle in order to create a 3-degree angle of attack for the wing. The 3-degree angle of attack is what caused the nose up issue on my two previous builds. I changed the 93-degree angle on the back of the nose section to 90 degrees by drawing a straight line from A to B as a new cutting line for this section. By doing so, a 0-degree angle of attack is given to the wing, which solves the issue. As part of this tweak, I also moved the hole for the power pod securing pin 10 mm in a downward direction in order to maintain the tilt angle of the motor. The difference in trim between these two models justifies the tweak. Note the difference between the original design and the tweak. Time for the second modification, and this one tweaks the landing gear. Due to the fact that my airplanes are a bit heavier, I had to look at something more durable that can handle whatever a hard landing throws at it. To start with, if you look at the framework, you will notice that the entire landing gear consists of a unit that goes onto the airplane. In short, those who have watched the build video will notice that instead of having two loose A-frames, I've combined the two into a unit by bending it out of one piece of wire. Note how I've bent the A-frames at the end in order to host the stub axle. If you know a skilled welder, ask him or her to tack weld the frame. Otherwise, use a crimpable wire connector. In addition to this, I've tweaked the struts into pieces of wire with a loop at each end. The struts gets bolted onto the A-frame by means of the stub axle and then goes over the pin for the rubber band that secures the wing. A piece of soft pipe keeps the strut into position. In this demo, I will show how the landing gear gets assembled. The washer prevents the stub axle from slipping out of the A-frame due to hard impact. The last modification that I would like to share is about the opening underneath the power pod of the airplane. Although the opening might look like a wind scoop, it doesn't really affect the aerodynamics of the airplane. The reason why I gave attention to this opening is because of where I fly from time to time. I've gathered from grass seeds to insects into the fuselage because of the opening. My main reason for this addition is for when I convert the airplane into a float plane. The float splashes water up and into the fuselage of the airplane during takeoffs and landings and messes with electronics. I've made a little cover that is secured by a pin hinge at the back and that locks into position at the front, also by means of a pin that locks into two holes in the side walls just below the power pod. The side walls get forced open by hand in order to open and close the cover. In addition to this, I've transformed the power pod so that the ESC lies directly under the hood scoop for cooling purposes, and only the battery and ESC connectors are visible when the cover is opened. In addition to all of this, I recommend that you check out my video on how to make Tundra wheels for your RC bush plane. With these wheels, you can turn your FT Simple Storch or any other airplane into a bush plane that can land just about anywhere. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy landings!